Hello, Duck Hunt, and welcome to episode number 295 of the IGN UK Podcast. My name's Gav Murphy, and today I'm joined by Mr. Rory Powers.
Hello, Duck Hunt.
Nice, and... Do you want to say your name?
Yeah, Luke Carmali. Hi.
So
Yay.
weak.
That was weak.
Not gonna nitpick.
That was weak,
I know,
wasn't it?
right?
That was weak.
How am I meant to say my name?
Jesus, I don't know.
Introduce yourself to the world. Imagine this is the first time people are listening
You're
to this
selling
podcast.
yourself.
Well, this is the thing. I don't want to
They've
say.
already profiled you. There's the boring one. Here's the fun one. And
Well, mine.
here's Dad. I don't know.
Fuck off!
Well,
You're not that young. And I'm not that old.
My dad has a beard. You have a beard. It's a fatherly.
Great.
It's a.
Your dad has
endearment.
got a fantastic beard as
Thank
well.
you.
I've never seen a photo of him, you, and I think it's you and your brother.
Oh,
Colin.
playing the baseball one.
Yeah, and he looks like Santa.
He does. Yeah.
You
Very
did
jolly
say that.
face.
Yeah, you know, your dad does look like Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My second name is Christmas as well. That's good.
Rory Christmas. I mean, in fairness, Powers is pretty good, but that's by the by, because this week we're going to talk about mainly Until Dawn. I've been playing it. I love it. It took me a while to really get into it.
Yeah.
Because I hate every single character.
But that's kind of the point, isn't it? That
It is kind of the point, but at the same time, it's just...
It's a PS4
It's annoying.
exclusive. So people who don't know it, it's set up. So what is the premise? Isn't it something to do with going to a house in the woods?
Yeah, I mean, it's your typical sort of
horror.
like teen schlock.
They go to get laid, and instead they get laid in a grave or something.
Something
Oh,
happens,
no.
something big happens right at the beginning, and a year later, you all go back there for the same reason. I mean, it's pretty mental why you would be going back to somewhere where a terrible thing happened in the first place.
Yeah.
But like, it took me, I think, there's like 10 chapters in all. We gave it a pretty good, Lucy reviewed it for us and
give
gave
it
it pretty good.
7.5?
Something like that, yeah. I
think so, yeah.
And she's really big on horror, and she's really into it. Krupa's big horror guy as well, and he's really enjoying it. But it took, for the first couple of hours, I really didn't get on with it at all, because the scares are like, I mean, pretty much all the scares are like jump scares, basically. Which is good, but sometimes it can be a bit
cheap
frustrating.
sometimes.
But the game looks amazing. The script is pretty rubbish, but I really like those sort of decision games, kind of like Heavy Rain and stuff like that, where you're making decisions and the stuff
It's all
you're doing
split time.
then.
Like your ending is going to be different from other people's.
Exactly.
So
ending.
I was
Yeah.
going to say
Cool
something that
stuff.
I have heard about it very, very positively is that the choices you make really do have an impact, like, you know, towards the end.
I don't know.
Gav face, not good face.
I don't know. Like the choices I'm making, it's basically like a lot of the choices you make are whether or not you want to actually work hard or not. So like a lot of times you'll be falling, and it'll be like, or you'll be running after someone, and it'll be like, oh, do you want to go the shortcut or do you want to go the long way? If you go the long way, you're gonna have to press a lot less buttons. If you go the shortcut, you're gonna be like press triangle, press circle, like all the time, and you get there a little bit quicker, and it's a little bit more dangerous. But like, doesn't really make that much more of a
Because they
difference.
kind of sell it, from what I've heard, is that you get to choose who lives and who dies.
You do,
but
and
like, does that play into it?
I made a really big decision on who lived or died last night, because
Well, by the sound of it, you want them all to die because they're awful humans.
well, no, because but the guy that
pixels.
see, I had a theory about one of the guys
Uh-huh.
that I let die, and I just thought I'm gonna let him die because something's gonna happen, and he's definitely not gonna die. He dies. my theory was bullshit.
Swing and a miss.
So
You're like punching him. He's like, he's gonna come back any second now.
annoyingly, he was the one that I didn't find the most annoying. Like, he was one of the ones I was like, I actually genuinely really like him. But I thought I had a theory about him, so I thought there's no way they're going to let him die. But yeah, he totally does.
It is funny because I haven't actually got a chance to play the game yet, but I've seen so much gameplay footage from it,
Yeah.
and it is a lot like watching a horror movie. Like from what I've seen, because we've done Let's Plays up on site that you can check out, some of the guys in the US playing it, and you do really buy into it, and it just feels like a horror movie.
Well, this is
cool.
kind of what I wanted to talk about, because this week we've also got Hitman Agent 47 out. So that's a movie trying to make a video game. But then, and a lot of people, you know, it's very, very hard to make a decent movie of a video game. But here we are with Until Dawn, making a video game of, you know, using all these sort of like movie tropes.
Yeah.
And doing it really well.
Flip the script.
Like, but I think it's way more, if I was watching Until Dawn, I wouldn't be having a very good time because I hate every single character.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing Until Dawn, I really, really like it.
Yeah.
Because all the characters are just detestable, and they're all like cartoon characters as well. Like, and if you remember, like I don't know how well you know it. Unfortunately, I know it quite well. But the Friday the 13th remake, there's people in that, and the way they talk to each other, I look at them and I go, like, you aren't humans. Like, you're just caricatures. And it's exactly the same with Until Dawn, really, because you look at these people, and you just go, outside of this setting, you don't exist in this world. In any world.
Well, it's kind of similar to Cabin in the Woods, where it's like the meta kind of idea of like every horror film has these set characters. You have the stoner one,
tropes,
you have the jock.
right?
Exactly, and it has these. I mean,
but they don't really come in. They don't really start embodying those, like, the stereotypical things, those tropes, until late on in that movie. Because at the beginning,
that's right. Because
when you first meet them, they're all smart. Like, Chris Hemsworth is super smart, and like he's a jock, but he's funny. He's got a sense of humor. He's an actual character, and he's actually got a bit of charisma.
Yeah,
exactly.
and then it just like
it kind of flips all on his head, and then later on in the film, they actually become those tropes. But
of course,
the thing is, I think after Cabin in the Woods, anything that tries to do a Cabin in the Woods movie or, you know, a setting like Until Dawn, it's not as good.
Yeah.
It's just not as good. And I think, like, Cabin in the Woods is so smart. And, I mean, you've got Joss Whedon behind it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Have you seen Hitman?
Yes.
What did you think?
It's all right.
Damning with faint praise there.
It's less than that maybe. It's just like a Euro trash film. It's kind of like, you know, it's just a rubbish action film basically.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really stand out in it. There's no, like, I think if you're a massive fan of Hitman and you go see it, you'll have a good time. Because they do genuinely take out bits like, you know, him taking on costumes, him dragging people around, the garroting, like, you know, traveling all over the globe and stuff. Well, mostly just Europe and Singapore. But
budget.
Like, if you're a massive Hitman fan, you might like it.
Yeah.
But it didn't really do anything for me, and I kind of have a passing interest in Hitman. So
yeah,
I don't know. But this is the thing, you know, it's really hard for films to make actual good representations of video games. But then if you think about all of my favorite bits in video games that I can think of off the top of my head are ones that remind me of movies. And we've been playing heists we've actually managed to sit down and do some heists
finally
together, like, which we've been trying to do for ages. And like what are the bits that we're talking about? The bits that we've been talking about are not the bits where it's like, you know, you're taking over wave and wave of these guards. The bits that we're talking about are the bits where it makes you feel like you're in a movie.
Yeah, the bits we're talking about is when you guys are driving out of a prison in an armored car, and me and Alex are coming in helicopters and planes, and it's the cinematic is essentially what's happening. It's this huge, you know, this whole plan that's coming together at one point, and you really feel like you're a part of something big and huge. And you're right, it's the exact same. You're not thinking about like what's the frame rate, you know, while you're in the prison, or you know, the graphics or anything like that. It's all about the gameplay. Well, the story.
You know, I mean, awesome. And also a really, really good example of that is in the other heist that we're in the middle of doing right now. In the other heist we're in the middle of doing right now.
The Humane Labs.
The Humane Labs one. We've just stolen an EMP whilst aboard these fighter jets.
Oh yeah.
And the four of us are in these fighter jets flying over LA in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, like, Highway to the Danger Zones comes on, and it's just like, you're listening to that going, okay, I want to be in Top Gun.
Yeah,
like, this is what
was so awesome.
The way that it sort of uses movie stuff to bring that into the game, it's the bits that we're talking about as well. And you think, like, you know, Uncharted 2 is one of my favorite games. All the bits on that are bits from that I think, that would be an amazing movie.
Or like I could imagine this in Indiana Jones. Like exactly it's that kind of stuff.
So kind of tied into that, I guess, because, you know, you're talking about how when games try to be filmic, it works.
Yeah.
Having said that, game adaptations of movies.
Yeah.
Does that work?
But I still think...
No.
Like, there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't work.
What was Lego Jurassic World like, by the way?
Very good.
Because, it's weird, because that was one that I didn't really hear much about. Usually, I mean, I know Cooper's definitely a massive fan of the Lego games. And for some reason, that one seemed to be a lot quieter than the others, and I would have assumed...
What, Lego Jurassic World?
No,
it was like the best-selling game of July, I think. It did really well.
Is that a fact, or is that something...
No, that's fact, yeah.
Really?
Maybe.
It seems like something the news editor should know.
It does seem like, hey, listen, I'm spinning a lot of plates.
But no, I think the reason for that is a lot of other things. Like, we talked about it on Rebel Base this week, but like this cycles for making those types of video games. You can't make a good game in they say, like, you have a 2-year cycle to make a movie. That's fine, that's enough time. 2-year cycle to make a video game like of that size, that's really hard. It's not the same thing. And people really make that mistake, and then you get, you know, guff like the Harry Potter games that came out for Wii and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
I'd be really interested to see Two points in one way, but one is it'd be interesting to see what VR does for that as well. Just in terms of if that does change anything in terms of the experience.
But what do you mean now?
Well, I certainly think that in terms of making things a cinematic experience and stuff like that, VR, there is a lot of potential there. I don't necessarily know gameplay wise.
But how would VR change anything for making game adaptations of movies?
Not game adaptations of movies. Okay, I just mean like making games more filmic.
Right. Okay,
I personally think, I think that is a more immersive way to kind of experience things. Yeah. Certainly from the times I've gone hands-on with it, and so it will be interesting to see if that does it. Because for me, when I've used VR, it doesn't really work with gameplay, but it does work really well in terms of immersing me into that world.
See, I kind of disagree because I've just come back from Gamescom and playing the Oculus Touch.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a chance on that.
One of the coolest bits of gameplays that I've played in ages, because you're actually, there was no world for that. There was no like immersive experience. I'm in a room and there's toy boxes there and I can pick things up and chuck them around.
That's pretty cool.
And shoot them and stuff like that. Like,
that's crazy.
I'm not being immersed in a world, but I am being immersed in this crazy gameplay. Whereas it's like, I was playing with this other dude who was doing the demo for me, and we've got these laser guns that can shrink people. Yeah. And he's like shooting me, then he shrinks me down, so I'm tiny and walking around this world. He's giant and everything's like slowed down, and he's like talking like really, really slow, and I'm talking really, really tiny like that. And then I shoot him and I like zoom back up. Like gameplay wise, that was amazing.
That's the kind of thing that I imagine is like prison. Once you've gone in, you can't make it on the outside world anymore. You're like, put me back in with the little toys.
I think you have a very warped idea of what prison is like. There's probably a bit more rape. If we're honest.
I think it's important. I mean, so video game movies haven't had that great of a representation so far.
Warcraft.
Well, this is the point. So superhero films, for example, they're one of the hugest markets right now. But you have to remember, it didn't start out like this. We had to go through a lot of garbage to get the superhero genre where it is today.
Yeah.
Moving along that, I think we are getting the garbage out of the way, and people are seeing the potential of video games. We're making the mistakes now. Yeah. And I reckon in the next 10 years, we're going to see the same thing happen. We're going to see these video game franchises become huge films.
Yeah. Well, as I say, Warcraft.
I think Warcraft may be a fantastic start.
Apropos of nothing, I have absolutely no evidence for this. I mean, I have nothing. I know Tilly's told me some stuff that I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm a huge Warcraft fan anyway, so we'll see. But yeah,
on the subject,
I touched Duncan Jones, so.
On the subject of Hitman Agent 47, we had the producer of that, but he's not only just the producer of Hitman Agent 47, he's the producer of the Just Cause movie.
Yes.
The Deus Ex movie.
Wow.
And he says some really cool stuff. I don't think it's in the bit that we're just about to let you listen to, but this is him talking about Hitman Agent 47 anyway, so have a listen to that.
Hello guys, Chris here with Daniel and Adrian Ascaria, the producer of Hitman Agent 47, as well as a bunch of other video game movies that might be in development.
And other non-video game movies.
And other non-video game ones, graphic novels, TV shows, this and that.
Happy to be here.
Let's kick off. Thank you for coming.
Well, thrilled to be here. I'm a fan of this show. So to be on it is awesome.
That's the first time that's ever happened, isn't it?
That's never happened. My mum doesn't even watch it. So.
I think you guys are great. I love all the back and forth and the debates over movies and comic books. I watch it all the time.
Oh, cheers! Thank you for.
You got it. Thanks,
man. But you do have a few video games in development at the moment. How do you get to that position? How's this occurred?
Hey, look, I'm a fan of video games and comic books. So for me, making a movie is such a complicated, for everyone, difficult experience because it takes so long to get a movie made and development, and then all these things have to come together for the production. To do anything you're not a fan of, I think, personally speaking, it's a waste of time. I mean, it's a lot better ways to make a living than being a movie producer, making movies you don't really care about. So. I just, it happens that I'm a fan of comic books and video games, and I played video games growing up and still do if I have the time. That's how we ended up with me picking up these properties.
A lot of them are Square Enix properties. Hitman is, and same with Just Cause.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, how has that come about? Did you
great relationship with them? Yeah, I mean, we delivered for them on the first Hitman. In terms of. I think their games ended up doing a lot better after the first movie came out, even though it's a tremendously successful franchise. We've it's just been a kind of a evolving relationship. It's It's based on mutual respect, and we treat them well, and they treat us well, and it's a relationship that has paid off.
Have you had any discussion, like one of Square Enix's biggest properties is Tomb Raider? Were the rights currently with that?
They didn't want to give those to me. That's the one where they sit now. Sorry. Okay. No, I believe it's at Warner Brothers and MGM.
Right.
I believe they have a good script that's moving forward, but I'm not involved in any way, shape, or form. So that's just what I hear.
Traditionally, though, video game movies haven't been hugely successful. So, what makes you think you can change that?
I don't think I can change or not change anything. I just think I can help make good movies. And I think video game movies have suffered, I think, twofolds. One, they haven't been good, mostly good, as you've said. And second is I think there is such a predisposition to not like them because of what the genre has delivered in the past, that some people give the movies a hard time before even seeing them.
Do you think? I also feel like those people are just willing for one to be...
They're just waiting to ambush it. And that's fine, because if you're a video game fan who plays these characters and, has some sort of a personal relationship with Agent 47 or Lara Croft or Solid Snake because you're playing them for 20 hours, I understand that you feel a movie might be invasive or that they can't do your character or your alter ego or your avatar justice. I think it's more than just reading a comic book in a passive way. Maybe not passive, but it's a completely different experience. So I think that's part of it. But at the same time, the genre hasn't really, up to this point, given people a reason to say, yeah, that was the dark night of the genre. I think we made a very good movie with Hitman Agent 47, but I think, it's hard to overcome the perception of the genre. But I think it will happen.
Is
eventually.
Getting the level of kind of fidelity to the source material very difficult to do? So unlike when you adapt a novel where you have kind of free reign to an extent over the look of the characters, kind of the visual aesthetic of the adaptation, whereas a video game, if people are fans of the series, for instance, like something like Deus Ex or Hitman, that character has a very specific look. The Deus Ex series has a very specific colour palette. If you say to a director, this is the kind of look the film has to have, the main character has to be kind of like this guy or audiences are going to reject it. Right. Is it difficult to find a director to kind of take on all that baggage?
Yes.
Because you're kind of limiting a lot of the decisions that would be theirs to make.
Well, it is. But some directors love that challenge. Some directors come to it as big fans themselves. But at the same time, I don't want that to be an albatross for video game movies if it's not for comic book movies, because comic book movies, you have to adapt them properly as well. And as evident by what Kevin Feige and Marvel have done, I mean, they can be done. They can be done on the highest level. So that shouldn't be an excuse for video game movies. Again, video games are a different experience. There's far more detail. There's far more in-depth visual language that you have to adapt to a movie. So yes, that's more challenging rather than just taking Thor from a comic book to a movie, which in and of itself has its own set of challenges, but it's just different set of challenges. So yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. But more and more big-time directors are getting involved with video game movies, like Duncan Jones with Warcraft. So I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for that movie to blow the door open. I'm rooting for this movie to blow the door open.
Yeah, because I think the key is that word. It's adaptation. It's changing source material. I think a lot of the worst comic book movies, the worst video game movies, have just tried to capture something that they never can really capture, and that's why people play a game rather than seeing the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they have been completely disrespectful. I've said in an interview before that Steel and Tank Girl and Batman and Robin and, Catwoman. Now, no disrespect to people who worked hard in making those movies, but no one said comic book movies were dead and they will never turn around when those movies were being released. So, I think video game movies are certainly on their way.
So let's talk Hitman. First up, what's your favourite Hitman game?
Absolution. My favorite always is the original PC one.
Yeah.
But Absolution to me finally brought this character into a very cinematic world. And I thought it was so cool and over the top and did some interesting things with the characters that I didn't expect. So that's the one I played most. But your first is always the most special one. So Silent Assassin, the PC version.
Yeah. And obviously you got a chance to make a Hitman movie a few years ago, as you mentioned, with Timothy Olyphant. How come we never got to see a sequel to that? Because financially it did pretty well.
It cost $26 million. It did $100 million worldwide, which is interesting because Transporter movies and Underworld movies did the same and the first Resident Evil did less. Yeah, but they all ended up getting a. But that's a decision that was over my pay grade. I was a young producer at the time. I found the project and set it up at Fox with Chuck Gordon, and who's another producer who produced this movie with me as well. But we weren't really involved in the production. They brought in Luc Besson because they wanted to make it, previous regime at Fox, because they wanted to make it for a price. But the movie was what it was. It was all right. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was it wasn't the movie I would have made, but maybe that's for the better. But this one is different. We wanted to do a proper reboot. We wanted to do a proper Agent 47 movie and not just take that character and set him in Eastern Europe. We wanted it to, have something to say about his origin without being an origin story. And we wanted it to address issues regarding the world that he exists and his mythology and the agent program. So I think we accomplished all of those.
What's different with the world then, if you're putting Hitman into this world than the world 10 years ago? Is that something you have to take into account, or...?
I hope so. I mean, I think that's automatically informed when you're developing a movie, because if you're developing a movie in any time period, hopefully you're cognizant of what's going on around you, then that infuses itself into the film or the script. So, in a very unconscious way, yes. But, I think genetic engineering is interesting. I think this character has a lot of interesting elements about its creation and the idea of creating the soldiers of the future, which they're trying to do as we sit here and speak. And it's not just creating robotic soldiers. It's about mental conditioning of recruits for future wars. And I think that's stuff that we kind of wanted to play with a little bit, and just mainly setting him in a very cool and exotic setting with the ending of the movie in Singapore and have it be a contrast to the Berlin setting in the first half. I wanted to create a travelogue spy movie with this assassin in the middle of it.
Because travel globe-trotting is an element from the game series.
Mm-hmm.
What other elements is it important for you to kind of take over into the movie? When you look at the game and go, that's adaptable, we have to retain that, otherwise it ceases to be Hitman, it could just be any action movie. What are those elements that you wanted to import across?
Well, obviously the way he looks, although we did tweak those a little bit. But I don't think to a degree that he's not Agent 47. I just think we wanted to make it feel more grounded and cinematic. But his mythology, the agent program, the idea of his creation, what he as a character is confronted with, knowing he was created to do one thing and really having the potential to be something else. I think that's prevalent in the games. It certainly is a component of an upcoming game. I don't think I'm giving much away. So we wanted to kind of deal with that. But we also wanted it to feel that audiences who've never played the game and don't know who Agent 47 is can go and see a cool action movie with cool characters and this woman in the center of it that people can hopefully use as a point of entry into this world, which is kind of populated by John Smiths and Agent 47s.
You lay some seeds in this movie with the kind of agent program, his background, the relationship is... In the past, I'll be very careful with what I say.
Don't give away the
end,
the mid-credit sequence.
I'm not going to give away anything. But
Thanos shows up at the end of this movie.
But
actually, Nick Fury shows up and recruits Agent 47. From now on, we'll have a Marvel logo. And
so have you got like a 10?
Maybe the fans will like us sight unseen if you have a Marvel logo. Go ahead. Sorry, Kevin, I had to get that in.
So do you have like a provisional kind of roadmap of what you'd like to do now you found your new Agent 47?
Well, yeah, I mean, potentially, but the audience has to come. And they have to, the good news is this movie cost fraction of Mission Impossible or other movies. I mean, fraction. I'm not entitled to go into the budget because Fox will kill me, but, it's a relatively cheap movie, relatively. So, yeah, I mean, if enough people come see it worldwide, yeah, you saw by the end of the movie by a couple of sequences back to back that we want to take this into a direction, which is ironically more of a literal world of the game direction. So hopefully we'll get to do that.
And might they cross over with the games, the storylines going forward, or is that?
I think ultimately, I don't know about Hitman movies, but I think ultimately video game movies will. I think they're going to have to. Yeah. I think otherwise it's going to feel that. I think as virtual reality is kind of taking over as well, and as everything is kind of being distributed through I think. It's a more larger conversation, but whether the next Hitman movie does that or Tomb Raider does that or assassins.
There's been a couple of experiments. I think it's really because when they've announced the new Xbox, there was this talk about Spielberg producing some original content for it. Ridley Scott's production company have made some Halo stuff, some more Halo stuff coming. There's a game coming out next year called Quantum Break, which has Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones in it. So you play the game, and you play for about, I don't know, a couple of hours, and then you basically get on the game disc a 40-minute TV episode with Sean Ashmore in it and Aidan Gillen.
And is it related to the narrative of the game?
Yes, so basically you're playing as the hero, and then for the 45-minute TV episode, you're seeing it from the perspective of the villains. So it's this kind of like cross-media, but it's all on one disc. I would just worry because production on games sometimes takes 4 or 5 years. Getting these things in sync might be a little bit tricky.
Well, that's been the biggest challenge, to be honest with you. The production cycle in a video game is 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And movie, it's about 1 to 2. So how do you get them to match up? But I think ultimately they will. I really do. Is that the only way to succeed, or is that... No, of course not. But I think you have to tell good stories. But what you just described, if I was I don't know what that property is, but if I was a fan of that property, like if you would have said that was Hitman or Lara Croft or, Iron Man, I would be totally down for that.
Because originally I think the plan with that was to release the game and concurrently have a show on network TV. But there was a game a couple of years ago that did that called Defiance.
Sci-Fi did that, didn't it?
Defiance, yeah. And I think what they found was it was trouble migrating that audience back and forth between the game and then this channel at a certain time, which is why I think they've made the decision to put the kind of the TV component on the disc.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys this: with the advent of smart TV, wouldn't that be easier? If
I think with new consoles it'd be easier to like hop between Netflix and your game disc. Like you could have a prompt surely in the game and it just switches you over to Netflix. I think that's probably. I think you have to make it as easy as possible for audiences. Otherwise, it's like I'm not gonna remember to tune in at the same time or whatever.
Speaking of additional material, though, have you got stuff that you shot for this movie that isn't in the film but will appear on the Blu-ray?
Yes, absolutely.
What is that?
Well, that would give it away, but I'll give away a little bit.
I want to tease.
There's a very cool sequence involving a wrecking ball that will be on the Blu-ray, and we did a comic book for the movie as a prelude, which was very successful in Comixology. I think over 100,000 people or something. But we're doing a special 3 pages that takes place after the last scene you see on this film. So those and then other cut scenes. And me and the other producers talking nonsense. I think those are things you have to look forward to on the on the Blu-ray.
Excellent. Well, that one's out this week, Thursday, August 27th.
You mean Hitman Agent 47 is out this Thursday?
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the name of the movie.
Hitman
He just
Agent
said that one.
47.
Okay, so this week, what's tight, what's shite?
There we go.
I'm going to kick things off.
I like that one. Someone emailed in. I'll find the name.
Yeah, tight and shite is brilliant.
Tight and shite is really good.
We got a little too off the path when it was like yellow snow and all these weird. When I was like, we've strayed from. Let's reel it back. Yeah.
But my first tight thing is Show Me a Hero, which is the David Simon Paul Haggis miniseries, which it's on HBO. I'm not sure how many episodes it's in on that, but there's 2 episodes on Sky Atlantic at the moment, and it's awesome.
Only 2 episodes, and you're already...
Yeah, oh man, I was in after 15 minutes. Whew. Anything David Simon writes, it's just, he just does men talking in a room so well.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome.
So do we.
Yeah.
Are we going for men? I don't know. I think that's a bold word for us.
I don't know anything about the story or anything like that. So basically it's about in the sort of taking over like the mayor of Yonkers. I think it's either the 70s or the 80s. That's the thing. I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But Yonkers is part of New York, which I didn't even know till I started watching this thing.
I did.
Sounds like someone in The Wizard of Oz.
No, because it's in Friends it's mentioned.
Oh, really?
With that one who's like, I've never had any
Yonkers.
professional dance training. She's like,
oh, right.
You're from Yonkers. Your name is
she's from
Buffa
Yonkers.
Montini or something like that.
Yeah, 'cause the only thing I knew about Yonkers was the Tyler the Creator stuff, and that's nothing to do with this TV show. But it's got a really good cast. It's got Oscar Isaac in it. He's like the main dude, and he's just brilliant to watch as well. It's nice to see him. He's kind of like upbeat. Well, the first episode, he's kind of like upbeat and happy,
Yeah.
for a while, and you never see Oscar Isaac.
That's what I was going to say.
smiling,
That's not very
really.
I was going to say
characteristic.
in Ex Machina,
quite reserved.
He was
Yeah.
not a happy man.
But it's also got Joe Bernthal as well, the guy from Walking Dead, and who's going to be the new Punisher.
Who is he in? Oh, Shane. Walking Dead. Yeah. Oh, awesome.
And he's really, really good in it as well. But like, I don't know, it's just everything that David Simon does is so dense, and it's just like so much to listen to. I find myself again, just like The Wire and stuff like that, like I'm rewinding bits to go back to it and be like, what is going on? Like the first episode, so much happens, and like they're setting up like an election for who's going to win the mayor thing, and you think, oh, okay, that's going to be the story of the 6th episode. No, that's done and dusted in the first episode. Like that's done and dusted in the first 40 minutes. So God knows what's going to happen.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm already in. Like there's been nothing on TV recently where I've gone, oh man, this is good. It feels like good TV, but it's really, really good. So I would highly recommend checking that out.
Cool.
Awesome.
So, Adam Byrne was the guy who emailed in and gave us Titan shite. So thank you.
Nice. Well done, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
So for me, for me, which is good, which is tight, as it were. Witcher 3 sales passed 6 million in 6 weeks. So that is huge. Very impressive for them. And I just think it's good because quite often, we see instances of games getting released that the developers either have maybe they've taken a risk, or maybe they've gone with an idea that's slightly out of the box and it doesn't pay off for them. CD Projekt Red has always been very straight shooting, and they've been kind of very like don't believe in DRM, we don't believe in kind of charging you lots for DLC. They've done this post-launch 16 pieces of free DLC. They've treated gamers really well, and I think it's very, very good that they are being rewarded for this with massive sales figures.
It's definitely well deserved. You made a great game that functions well on all platforms of release. You've got weeks and weeks of DLC, which I think nowadays DLC is becoming a bit of a dirty word. As soon as people hear it, they start getting aggressive.
Well, because I like expansions. Expansions were the good old days, and they do have 2 expansions coming, and they're what they'll charge for. I'll pay for an expansion. I won't pay for DLC.
Exactly. You see a lot of games like a lot of FPSs and things charging for like gun mods and these tiny little touches, and then you've got Witcher 3 is giving you different beards that you can have for
free
main characters. Yeah, and they're just like, we'll do it for free.
Free beards.
Exactly.
Hey,
I mean, who doesn't love free
are.
beards? Who doesn't love free beards? I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good, and it's just something that maybe other developers should take note of.
Wink.
Wink,
Wink. Winking
nudge,
into my
nudge.
microphone.
All right, Rory, do one of yours because yours are.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yours are awful, and you've also lumped them at the end, and you've also written your name as Roy on my sheet.
That was an accident.
We like Roy.
We like Roy.
So recently it was announced at the Pokemon Championships in Boston that Pokken tournament will be announced for Wii U. So this is a game. Pokken. Well, it is kind of Pokken, but it's Pokken.
Well, it's Pokken because it's 2 Ks, but
It's it's essentially Tekken combined with Pokemon.
Okay.
So it's like the Tekken engine, but using Pokemon inside of it. So it was an arcade game in Japan, and now it's been officially kind of announced. It should be coming spring 2016, I believe.
Set your watches.
Set your watches, people. I think it's really cool. I love Pokemon, but it can be a bit tiring sometimes with every Pokemon X, Y, Ruby, Silver. It's just the releases where it all kind of feels the same. Those top-down explorings. You have to stop Team Rocket, and you also have to.
or Team Magma.
Well, yeah, whoever's trying to take over the world.
I'm actually, I generally really want another Pokemon game now.
Well, so I was chatting.
like
but
something
people are a
to
bit
play.
disappointed that they didn't announce it.
Fucking.
You're not interested.
No, I'm not interested in.
Letting you see behind
Why?
the curtain,
It's-
letting the lovely listeners see behind the curtain. We knew that an announcement was coming, and we were kind of, but PR wasn't really helping us out. So we were trying to figure out what it could be.
Yeah.
And we were thinking. So the last, obviously, Pokemon game was.
It's been a while.
Well, it was released last November. So it has been a while, and it was announced May 2014. So it's been more than a year since we've known about a new Pokemon coming, and they never usually leave it that long.
Well, it's been more frequent recently because they've been doing a lot of remakes as well, like Alpha, Ruby, Omega stuff, and things like that. So, like the most recent one was X and Y, the 3D title.
Really?
Well, I mean, aside from the remakes.
yeah.
So what was the one that was it Ruby and Sapphire that they redid?
Ruby and Sapphire. Yeah. So presumably the next one will be another one on utilizing the 3D on the 3DS.
Yeah.
It'll
Well-
be much more like.
Well, I don't mind about the 3D. What I actually do like about the 3DS though is just all the other awesome features about it. That's the reason that I get into Pokemon games now and again is because the people that I'm with.
Yeah.
And I haven't worked here since a new Pokemon game come out, and I reckon you'd be into it.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be into
Yeah.
And the last time that I really got into it was Black, and I just love this so much.
If you with a group of friends that are kind of into it, and you're all battling
every
gyms
day.
and
If you're coming in every day, I think
it's really cool.
I think it's gonna be really good.
Did you guys ever have the I think it was Heart Gold and Soul Silver that had the Poke Walkers? They were like little Pokemon.
No, but I did have
the
little Pikachu pedometer thing that you used to get.
Seems like essentially the same thing, but mine was probably cooler.
Well, maybe.
I had a Digivice as well. They were
I also had a
amazing.
Digivice, but let's not mention that here.
Badass.
But I was just thinking, curveball, what if the next Pokemon game they announce is the open world RPG we've all been waiting for, and it's a launch title for NX?
It's not gonna happen.
Boom.
It's not gonna happen.
They make too much money off it being on Pocket
3DS.
They've already made statements before as well. They say the nature of the platform doesn't work.
But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they were kind of waiting to announce a crossover, like to do with like a Pokemon Stadium type thing on the NX.
Well, someone made a demo of what Pokemon would be like running on the Unreal Engine, and it was like Charizard running through a field, and it was just the most incredible. You were just like, I would play.
See, it's very difficult to judge with you whether it really is the most incredible, because you get quite excited about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. This peach water is the greatest thing I've ever drunk before. It was amazing.
So there we go.
All right, that's Pokken Tournament then. So thing that's on my tight list is the Metal Gear Solid Kojima Cut trailer.
That was
like
really nice.
A 5.5 minute trailer
I
that's been
teared
made.
up.
Yeah.
I'm just getting emotional.
So I've never played a Metal Gear before. You know, it's always been one of those games.
Leave. Get out.
It's been one of those things that I've been familiar with, but I've always worried that, oh God, it's too far gone, I won't get the story, what have you. And then I spoke to Alex, and Alex was like,
It's a mess.
What the story is.
Nobody knows what the story is.
Yeah, so whoops. So anyway, better late than never. I might get into it, but
There's actually a really, really good video that Eurogamer put up this week that Aoife Wilson made, and it's like, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. If you don't know the story and you want to play Phantom Pain, I would watch it, because there's a 12-minute video that basically tells you the entire story of Metal Gear.
The mere fact that she's managed to actually figure it out is worth your watch alone.
I'm sure there is
it's a very cool video.
Story. Yeah, that's a really good idea, because there's a lot of people that would be wanting to get into this game.
I mean, it basically gives you the entire gist of everything. I reckon that you'll need to be able to understand just like small things in a new game. So yeah, you should definitely check that out. But it's an amazing trailer as well. So Kojima's cut it, and yeah, it's really sad.
So the first half of the trailer basically goes back through the previous games and looks at them, and it's really kind of, even if you don't know the series, it's something where you can appreciate how much of an institution it is, what it's done for gaming, how it's evolved. And certainly, I think, definitely in our age range, you know, when you watch that, you've lived through those kind of generations of consoles, you're a bit like, oh my God, it is quite kind of moving. So yeah, I thought it was incredible. And especially because this, you know, Konami have said that it's going to go on as a franchise, but this is Kojima's last ever trailer for it, and he, you know, cut it, edited it.
It's quite sad.
Yeah, well, we've given it a 10, and I just saw on our Duck Hunters Facebook group that people have started getting their copies today, and we're recording this on a Thursday.
Yeah,
is it Thursday? Yeah, we're recording this on Thursday. Game's not out for a couple of days.
I know.
So people have got it for the bank holiday weekend. Like even Krupa's just gone online to try and buy one.
We haven't actually got any copies in yet. So if any of our Duck Hunters do want to send us some, that's
the thing. I'm kind of glad mine didn't come, because I'm going away for the weekend.
I'm in Barcelona, so there's nothing I can do.
But there we are. All right.
I forgot about the bank holidays. I'm just going to be stuck doing nothing. Sucks.
Rocket League.
Rocket League.
Oh, God.
Let's do it.
What's this bullshit you've written down?
How dare you, sir? So, Xbox One backwards compatibility. Basically, Phil Spencer has said that they are investigating not just including Xbox 360 games, but original Xbox games. So at some stage in the future, your original Xbox games could work on your Xbox One.
Who cares?
Who cares? Right. Firstly, shut your whole mouth.
Surely everything that you'd want to play has already been remastered.
What game? What original Xbox game hasn't been remastered you want to play?
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
No, wait. Star Wars Knights of the Republic has been remastered.
On iPad. Who wants to play it on iPad?
Yeah, fine.
There you go. Sorry. I win that one. Sorry, I'm a bit taken aback that I actually won that one.
Very aggressive as well.
But basically, I am... Because I had an original Xbox, I had an Xbox 360, I haven't got an Xbox One.
What do you want? Fucking Blue Peter Badge?
I don't.
Yeah, but you never played any games on it.
Game Boy SP.
I had them.
Nintendo 3DS XL.
Stop doing that impression of me.
Go on.
But basically, I was really, really excited to hear this, because I still have all my games.
Just because Knights of the Old Republic. Just to
Well,
play
no,
Knights
there's
of
other
the
ones.
Republic.
I'm not getting involved in this. I won't stoop to your level. But the point being, I still have a lot of old games that I would like to play. I think it's good value, and it just shows how far Microsoft has come in turning around from their original ideals.
I think one of
Are
the...
you reading out like a PR spiel? That's what that sounds. Shows how far Microsoft has come.
What are these impressions of me? Where are these impressions of me coming
Phil
from?
Spencer has really shown his cards with this move. I think it's quite admirable.
You are the worst people I've ever met.
Bollocks.
Right, okay.
Well, I think probably the most interesting takeaway is, do you think this is going to be a thing now for future consoles, that they'll always be able to play? Because we haven't really had that in the past before. Like,
We haven't
Yeah,
had
we
it,
have.
and it hasn't made a difference.
Yeah, we have.
No.
PS3 was backwards compatible.
The first PS3 was backwards compatible.
Yeah.
with PS2.
Xbox 360 was backwards
so I'm
compatible.
saying, like, PlayStation 2 onward, I couldn't play SNES games on my N64. I'm saying we reached a point. Is that going to be the point that we will always go back to from the future?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't need it. I don't need it at all. There's too many new games for me to go back and go. Like, do you know how many
Sony's
hours I
getting
spent on
PlayStation now.
Knights of the Old Republic? Like hours, like tens of hours on Knights of the Old Republic. You're never going to play that again.
I spent a lot, and then I replayed it about 2 years ago.
And now you want to play it again?
Yeah,
Bollocks.
but because
Rory, what's your last thing?
Because I got to the final planet and I got a glitch, and all of my whatchamacallit, party members became Wookiees.
What?
Yeah, the
Rory.
Wookiee.
That's a good glitch.
No, it wasn't.
Rory, let's see this tight ship home.
Last bit of tightness for this weekend is there's
love how I get
someone in the Duck Hunt podcast group. His name is Fraser Overington.
Yeah.
He works for Manga UK, and he's part of a team that's going to be bringing... He does. He works for Manga UK. He's part of the team that's going to be bringing Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F to 24 screens across the UK.
So can I just say, I get stick for saying it's tight that Phil Spencer's done something great for games, and I'm doing PR spiel. What is this, Rory?
This is awesome. If you're an anime fan, this is monumental. I've never been
24
able to
screens in my house.
I've never been able to see an anime film on a big screen before, so this is a huge thing for me.
Buy a bigger TV.
I think I've. Oh no, maybe not. What have I seen?
I saw the Pokemon movie. That kind of counts.
Nah, not really.
Well, kind of.
I was talking to someone the other day, you mentioned Manga UK. I was talking to someone the other day. Do you remember like old manga VHS tapes used to come with that like music video at the beginning of them? And it's like,
maybe not.
Do you remember this? And it was like an amazing like trailer for manga in general. And it was like that had these like crazy like metal songs like
love that.
like over the top of it. But a friend of mine by accident there's a clip from one particular film where there's a guy going ugh. And they make that as part of the song. And a friend of mine did an amazing impression of it the other day in the pub and didn't know about the thing. So I was doing this exact story there as well.
Exact
And it was
same
just
story.
as interesting.
This is the gift that keeps on giving.
So anyway, if you're into anime, if you love Dragon Ball Z, do a bit of research here. It's going to be in screens all across the UK. Very cool event. So I recommend it.
Awesome. That brings us neatly on to the shite.
Yes, it does. So, basically, my first bit of shite is Star Wars. Anakin is in the top 1,000 most popular US baby names.
That's mental.
Yeah, I mean, for a start, it's quite late. I wouldn't say why Anakin's...
Top 1,000 names, though. I couldn't even name 1,000 names. That's far too many.
We've heard about this whole tree naming thing that you did last week, and we'll get onto that. But if that's the standard we're stooping to now, we are not doing that. But also...
Yeah, I'm not going to go,
he actually-
Trevor, Philip, Mark. What am I on? What am I on?
He actually does make a good point though. Like
1,000 names is a lot.
I couldn't name
1,000
it.
names a lot.
Yeah.
But it does. It's non-gender specific.
You're not going to call a girl Anakin, are you?
No, but what he's saying is it includes girls. Fucking hell.
But basically,
Why do you think this is shite?
I think it's shite because just Anakin's an alright name. If your name's Anakin, write in IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. I don't mean to offend you. It's just, I just think it's shite because why is this now affiliated with Star Wars?
Well, your name Luke, that was clearly after Star Wars.
Well, no. But this thing, Luke. So first of all, Luke is the best Star Wars related name. Secondly, why is this now being attached or attributed to Star Wars? Star Wars didn't invent the name Anakin, and it's
No, but since 1977, it has like Anakin has been synonymous with Star Wars. I first learned about Anakin through Star Wars. You're telling me you knew someone called Anakin?
I don't know
before
anyone called
Star Wars.
Anakin.
What the fuck are you talking about? That?
no.
I didn't even know it was a name before Star Wars. I thought
Exactly.
It was, yeah, like
So
who's
what
called
you're saying-
Anakin?
you're saying-
Did Anakin? No. Because the point that I'm making, I think this is shite because I think it's just
No, you just said, why is Anakin being attributed to Star Wars?
Yeah.
Which would suggest that you knew someone called Anakin before you knew Star Wars.
No, but it's obviously
which is utter bollocks.
It's obviously a name that existed before Star Wars.
Is it?
Well, it must be. It's not like George Lucas. If it hadn't been, George Lucas would have trademarked it, like he trademarked Droid. And now we probably owe him money for this.
Sounds like someone should have done their research before putting this down in the shite, because it sounds like you're talking through your ass. I'm gonna stick that out there.
That'd be a breaking out. I bet the habit of a lifetime, eh, Gav? Right, okay, on to you. And I've got.
Sure, you don't want to give any more thoughts on that well thought out point that you put in the shite?
I just think that Anakin is. I just think it's a shite bit of news because Anakin, who's called Anakin?
I think it's just weird that you would want to name your kid after Anakin. He's not a very nice person.
He's not.
Like, surely I'd go for Luke or
Kills
Han.
loads of kids.
I call him little Chewy Powers. That'd be cool.
Chewy
Powers. Jar Jar Pow.
All right.
Jar Jar Pow Wow.
All right, let's forget this ever happened. So I almost walked out of a film for the first time in years on Sunday that I paid for, and it was Trainwreck, the Judd Apatow, Amy Schumer film.
You guys have been inviting a lot, and I have a feeling you're going to kick off again because he loves Amy Schumer.
I love Amy Schumer.
Oh, okay,
I
maybe
love
not
her.
then.
He absolutely can't stand her.
Cannot stand her.
Really?
And
Have you seen Trainwreck?
no, I really want to. My mum saw it and she liked it.
Well,
Thanks for that.
Well, there you go.
I love Amy Schumer. I've been a massive fan of Inside Amy Schumer for ages. And I really love Judd Apatow films, even like Funny People and This Is 40, which a lot of people don't like. Well, Funny People more than This Is 40. But it's terrible.
What's wrong with it?
It's basically, you think, okay, Amy Schumer writing a rom-com. You think, okay, cool, she's gonna,
edgy.
Not edgy. You think she's gonna, do something new with it. Like she's gonna do something new with the idea. She doesn't at all. And it's just like Judd Apatow started making movies that were so relatable. And I think like, something like Knocked Up, This Is 40. No, This Is 40. Yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like they're quite relatable films. Like it's about, sort of like everyman, stuff like that. In Trainwreck, the lead character writes for some really famous magazine, and the other lead character is a physiotherapist to just about every famous American sports person in the world. So American sports person in the world, but they get all these American people. So you got like LeBron James in different scenes. You got
just for cameos,
and it's just like, but he's in it a lot, and like he's in it for basically the joke is with him. Obviously, LeBron James is one of the most famous sports people in the world, so he's one of the richest in the world. He's really cheap, so like he won't pay for things and stuff like that. Like, but that joke just gets done over and over again, and like basically any person who's playing themselves is just doing things you wouldn't expect them to do.
Like John Cena as well. Like in the trailer, I was like, why is he even here?
That's even worse though. The John Cena bit, the joke is he's blatantly gay, so they're making jokes about him like being like a closet homosexual.
Yeah.
That's the joke with John Cena all the way through it, and it's
well
awful.
done.
It's such a bad film, and it's just like, man, it's awful. I genuinely
quite looking forward to seeing that.
Maybe you should go see it, and we'll have another conversation about it. But like, I was really looking forward to it, and I've never been that disappointed with the film. Like, I was Dave and my lady, and we were just looking at each other, going like, should we just fucking go?
What out of interest? Because you said you now haven't walked out of a film in years. What was the last film you did walk out of?
I can't remember.
Have you ever walked out of a film?
I almost walked out of Hitch because it was
all right.
just no.
I wasn't
in the mindset either. I was just like, this.
I walked out of.
I had just been dumped. Want to watch Hitch?
Oh,
no, it was a joke. I haven't.
All right,
actually.
I walked out with. I walked out of Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day with my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like, no, look at this.
What did you walk out on?
Huh?
What did you walk out on?
No, she was.
Valentine's Day.
We walked out.
I thought you walked out of a film on Valentine's Day.
No, I did.
Wait, what's happening?
The film is called Valentine's Day. We went to see it on Valentine's Day.
That was
David
blowing my
Boreanaz.
mind.
And it was just like, it was
way too meta for me.
It was just
wait.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, Valentine's Day is not the one with David Boreanaz. That's just Valentine's.
Yeah, no, it's one of those. It's like the New Year's Eve film where they they have like 1,000,001 characters. It was trying to. We thought it would be like Love Actually. You know, where they have all these famous characters that's really good.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. It was just a pile of shite. Yeah. And anyway, I managed to convince her to come with me.
One good thing about Trainwreck is Amy Schumer's dad and the relationship she has with her dad is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, and he's really funny in there as well.
Who's it played by?
Oh, I can't think of what his name is.
Yeah. Is he famous?
Yeah, he's a famous dude. But like, it's Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see what everyone else thinks. But also, a really good one is, have you ever walked out of a film, and what was that film?
Yes.
So let us know.
No, do tell us.
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. Rory, what's the last bit of shite?
So this is probably the most devastating thing that has happened all week. So...
Some of the shit that you put on this one.
I know, and I'm the one who gets the stick, whatever.
In celebration of World Peace Day, which is coming up, Burger King proposed that they and McDonald's combine the Whopper and the Big Mac to create the McWhopper.
Like Street Fighter X Tekken. No, Street Fighter X.
Who could possibly be against this, except vegetarians, maybe? And it was the greatest idea ever. It was to promote world peace, to show these big rivals. It was the greatest
idea ever.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's up there.
We get an email from Burger King PR being like, can we use this at the IGN
the
review?
wheel, electricity, the McWhopper, all peaks of human invention.
The thing is, like, the Big Mac and the Whopper are the two worst things on those menus.
Who gets a Big Mac when they go to McDonald's?
Who buys a Big Mac?
I know.
Who buys a Whopper? Like, you don't. You go for, like, the thing with all the bacon in or something like that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it does seem like an odd choice. And also, what they were suggesting, because as I looked at the story, there's going to be a bun in the middle separating the two of them with the idea that you can then share it with someone.
No.
Again, to promote peace. I'm like, so you go and buy a McWhopper and then separate it into its component parts again and eat it. It's like, in what planet do you live that this is a good idea?
Yeah.
It wasn't thought through.
It was quite sad, though, because you could tell, obviously, this was a great PR move by Burger King, because it shows them as extending this hand of peace.
Yeah.
And they clearly put a lot of work into it. They thought of uniform ideas, a pop-up stand to sell it, box art design was going to be this whole thing. McDonald's just kind of shut it down with kind of a snooty message as well.
Very
It was quite
snarky.
patronizing. And
But then, no, to be honest, though, I saw loads of people having a go at this, and actually, like, if it was really going to be a real idea, Burger King should have just approached McDonald's with it. Like...
But then that's what I'm saying, like, they wouldn't have got all this great PR from it, where everyone sees, like,
they
Burger King
knew that McDonald's was going to say no to it, but now they've come out of it looking good, and McDonald's have come out of it looking bad.
Well, this is the thing. So I think McDonald's basically just mishandled it, because they could have made a joke of it in some way, rather than kind of, like, talking down.
Yeah.
But hey-ho.
I would totally eat
Having said that, if you do want a McWhopper, as we figured out, just go and buy a Whopper.
Absolutely, Brian Altano did it.
Oh, yeah.
You can check it out on site. He actually made a McWhopper.
I emailed him and said you should do that, and he said yes, I will.
Awesome.
So there we go.
Fantastic.
What are we on now? Feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We're coping. So that is it for.
I'm number one.
Titan Shite.
Yes, you are number
You don't
one.
have to say the numbers. Just showing them behind the curtain.
Duck Hunt. This is from. I'm never gonna be.
Aryan Tahim.
There we go.
Or Argentine.
Yeah. Duck Hunt. We were talking about the latest Loot Crate, which seemed to be a bit disappointing. I was wondering what was the worst promotional item that you've personally received. I remember hearing about publishers sending dust knuckles for Manhunt, which seems crazy. Do publishers still send elaborate promotional items?
First of all, it's your own fault for getting Loot Crate, which looks constantly like a big pile of shit.
I haven't really seen what people get out of Loot Crate.
Rubbish.
But, what are the prices like for Loot Crate? Is it like £20?
No, I think it's a bit more than that.
Bit more?
I think it's like $30. But like the stuff you get is like the stuff you get seems to be all over the place. Like you basically get one of those little sort of vinyl action figures or something like that.
Yeah.
Some T-shirts and some. I don't know, man. It just doesn't interest me. I am 30 years old though, so. But then Krupa gets the Marvel one, and that seems like it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
But because they actually like. The Loot Crate is themed all the time, so you get like you could get like a Walking Dead box or something like that.
Yeah.
But the Marvel one, I don't know. It seems a little bit more focused. Like they'll go, oh, this one's Ant-Man, so you'll get something that you can only get in that thing as well. And because they own, obviously, like Marvel are doing Star Wars as well. They did a Star Wars one.
That would be cool.
So there was a variant cover you could only get in Loot Crate.
That's pretty
whatever
awesome.
it's called anyway. Their thing.
Marvel Crate.
Yeah. But what's the worst thing I've ever had? Bit of tat.
I mean, I get a lot of soft toys, but I like soft toys, so I'm alright with that.
You get a lot of stuff.
Well,
A lot of stuff. I think one of the best things we got were those glasses that you put on, and they're mirror panels, so you're constantly looking
not a hero,
down.
yeah.
So I think the idea behind that is basically what? So you can like
Read on the
sunbathe or something and look at read a book or something that's there. without, So it's like to do with something like reading a book while looking straight. It's something like that.
All that it meant though was that for like the next 2 days, I was in my editing chair, leant all the way back, looking forward at my screens. Didn't really work.
One of the weirdest things I got, and it was quite recently actually, was for Surgeon Simulator. Bossa Studios sent me a quilt cover.
Oh.
A quilt cover. So when you lie down in it, it looks like it's like your body's being operated on.
It's kind
That's by my desk. If anybody wants that,
The Escapists.
You're welcome to
was
it.
it The Escapists? I got sent like a
Bar
fluorescent orange towel, like a boiler suit colour.
I got one of those.
I
took it on
used
holiday
that
with me.
towel.
I took it on holiday with me.
Yeah, it's a great towel.
Well, actually, I ended up having to have a shower in the office, and I had a towel. So it was useful, but it's just kind of one of those things you're like, wow, you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But also, publishers tend to give you, if you go to review events and stuff, or preview events, you get T-shirts quite a lot of the time of the game, and they're almost always large or extra large. And as a small guy, it looks like I'm wearing a poncho, and I can't really be doing with that.
There's two people that I've ever had good T-shirts from, and that's THQ when they did WWE, and they just do awesome T-shirts, and Bethesda always do amazing T-shirts.
Bethesda do great T-shirts. NC Soft actually does quite good T-shirts. You can get quite a lot of good sizes.
The weirdest thing I got was a Witcher, I think it was Witcher 3 puzzle.
Ooh.
Like table puzzle.
That'd be fun though. At least that's not like a huge inconvenience.
What are you talking about?
Also, quite often you get Rubik's Cube. We got Candy Crush Rubik's Cube, where basically instead of the
it's candy.
But basically, on each side instead of the colours, it's just a picture of the. Literally, there's so much tat we get that's useless.
What have you got?
Anyway, so Sean Humphreys says, just want to say thanks for opening my eyes to the TV show Pound Wars.
Oh, so good.
After hearing
I haven't
about
watched
it
it
on
yet.
your
Chris was telling me about it.
After hearing about it on your podcast, I checked out and was laughing my ass off within minutes of watching the first episode. It was like watching the real life Office, of which I am a massive fan.
It's so good.
What is Pound Wars?
We must have talked about it last week, so I won't give it a big sell. But Krupa turned me onto it, and it's basically
Krupa turned me on. Yeah,
like
what?
it's basically these pound shops, and I don't know if you've got them in the US, but like they are places where you can buy stuff
like
for
dollar
£1.
stores is the equivalent. Yeah.
And I think it's like 99-cent stores and stuff. That's quite big in the US, isn't it?
Yeah. That's kind of like same
but yeah, it's basically like that. But they found the most amazing real people. Like I was watching an episode last week where they were looking for those loom band things, those little things of elastic, and they'd run out. And this guy was just in a newsagent, and they were selling them for $1.49. And the guy was like, "Oh man, no, he wasn't American, but he was like, oh, if I had the money, I'd come in here and buy them and sell them in my shop." And I was like, "But they cost $1.49 here. You can only sell them for £1 in your shop. That's not good." But if you haven't watched, it's on BBC and it'll be on iPlayer, so you should definitely check it out. This one from Ross Miller. It says celebration of love in the subject.
Ooh.
Hi all, and Duck Hunt. Founder and Mother Superior of the IGN Facebook group gets married this Monday, on Bank Holiday Monday, and in behalf of all the Duck Hunters, wish him and his new wife all the best.
Awesome.
That's really nice. Also, thanks to your editor-in-chief, Alex, for joining us for a Duck Hunter Q&A this week. If you want to see the video, check out the post in the Facebook group or search Out of Lives on iTunes.
Well, congratulations.
That's from Ross Miller, our most attractive admin.
Congratulations.
Ooh.
Yay, well done.
That's quite a title.
Yeah.
This one comes from Robert Bass. He says, Duck Hunt.
Big mouth Robert Bass.
I am a gardener, and I must say you did pretty good. Now, this is in reference to the last podcast where we may have got a little off track and tried to see if we could name 20 trees.
How did this come up?
We were talking about things that we learned from video games, and I said my brother used to play a lot of RuneScape when he was a kid, and he learned all about trees. And they were like, Rory, can you name 20 trees? And then I couldn't quite do it, so then we all started doing it. It was quite a challenge. But these are some of the ones that we missed. We could have had birch.
I would have said birch.
I would have said birch.
Hornbeam.
Nope.
Cherry tree.
Yeah, I'd have had that.
Cherry tree.
Yeah. Apple tree.
It's fucking pine on that list. How is pine on that list?
Pine tree. I probably yelled pine cones instead. Hawthorn.
Probably, which means you definitely did.
Acer, not a PC, but a tree.
Yeah.
And a mulberry.
I can do that. I grew up in the countryside. But
oh, right, we're not pursuing. Yeah, okay. So we did. We think we did pretty good. I think we got over 20 in the end when we started naming a fruit and then just saying tree after it. And that cleared
tree.
about 5. Banana
Potato tree.
Yeah.
Joking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice. Next.
Nailed it.
Cool. So, Ross Graham says, "Hi guys, Duck Hunt.
Hi, Ross.
Please, can you change the email address for the podcast feedback?
No.
I wanted to send you this mail for a week, but keep forgetting the address. Now I missed out on awesome listener mail in place of this rubbish one. Lots of love. We keep talking about changing it, but then we kind of forget.
the fabric of the podcast.
It's integral.
It needs a jingle. That's why people remember it. It's like that joke in the IT crowd, you know, that really complicated.
Yeah.
You're like 0118999, but it's the jingle, and then you know.
Well,
the
you're
song.
a musician. Make us a jingle.
Write a little jingle.
It's IGN, for those wondering, it's IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
Yeah.
And just send us anything, really.
Here we go then. Delanus Prime, the guy with anus in his name.
Oh, I love this guy.
It's pronounced Dill Anus, I think you'll find.
After listening to the last podcast on the topic of first-person fatigue,
Yes.
I thought it was a perfect opportunity to mention the awesome Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I'm sure you guys are more than aware of it, and I, for one, feel like it's a big shot in the arm, maybe the face of the first-person genre. I mean, it's not first-person shooter.
Yeah, that's what I was
first
gonna
person, yeah. It's a great game. It's really, really good. It was actually a really cool thing. So I've played it. The soundtrack sold so many
heard about
that it
this.
should have been number one in the album charts this week.
But classic was tricky.
But unfortunately, they weren't allowed to have it because the loophole is they're not allowed to have movie soundtracks in there, even though there's a Harry Potter soundtrack compilation in the charts already.
Really?
Is this a vendetta against video game music? I think so. Because the people at Chinese Room have made like an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's reducing people to tears, the soundtrack is. So why isn't it allowed to be number one?
I think if there is
Bollocks.
I think that was the whole argument. If there's a separate section specifically for soundtracks, then it should be in the
But
soundtrack
it should be just overall, though. Like, if some soundtracks are allowed in, why aren't video games ones allowed in?
Well, I didn't know about the Harry Potter one. Unless, is that maybe an
All
orchestration that
soundtracks-
was done outside of the film's release? Like maybe it was a performance that was done by an orchestra? Because then maybe
I
that
don't
would
know.
be not
All
soundtrack, but
soundtracks
actually
are
be-
born equal, but some are more equal than
There you
others.
go.
live long
But yeah,
enough
no,
to become the soundtrack.
The game is
Or
brilliant,
die.
and everyone should check it out. Or if you don't want to check it out, it
Die.
almost certainly will be on PS Plus in the next 2 months.
Sweet.
So yeah.
No,
Check that out.
I've played a little bit of that, and I have liked what I've seen
Love to
thus
play it.
far.
Yeah, and I've got to find one. So finally, then, headphones in cinemas from Matthew
this is
Sewell,
quite interesting.
who says, "Have you got any more?"
No, I said this is quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Hello and Duck Hunt. As an avid cinema goer, I'm getting fed out of people in the cinema talking and using their phones, etc. What are your thoughts on being able to use your own personal headphones in the cinemas? Bollocks, because you shouldn't have to do that. Shouldn't have to come to that. If you see someone talking or using their phone in the cinema, go over to them or go tell someone on them, because this is the only way we're going to stamp this stuff out.
I actually, one of my friends was texting me the other day and was like, "Oh, I'm just in the cinema watching Ted 2." And I was like,
delete him.
and I sent him a text being like, "What the fuck are you doing, like, with your phone out?
Yeah.
Don't use your phone in the cinema. Just, it's not even about that. You shouldn't be that so like plugged in, like that you have to use your phone every minute.
Yeah.
And like have respect for other people. It's not a big ask.
I have a zero tolerance policy on a lot of things. But
No, yeah. Never guess.
Being a dickhead in the cinema is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I'm like, it's funny because I'm kind of like you in that sense where it's like, well, maybe not in the overarching way, like I let a
You're
lot of
a lot
stuff
nicer
go.
than me,
I'm
yeah.
quite a chill person,
Yeah.
but yeah, cinemas I absolutely draw the line. It's like the only time I've ever just been like leaning over.
I lose my
and,
shit
like,
over people
yell at
talking like really
Yeah, it's
loud to each
terrible.
other. I'm like, shut up,
Yeah.
watch the film or go outside.
Yeah.
I don't care. And if
Yeah.
you're going to discuss the plot, I will stab you.
When I used to live in West London, I used to go to it was a brand new cinema in the Westfield to watch like, some films. And there was one particular screen that had amazing seats, like just above this like sort of barrier thing. So I used to book, obviously, seats because I liked those seats. And I went with my girlfriend at the time to watch Scream 4. And there's a lot of banging going outside. If you can hear that, I'm very sorry. But yeah, I went to watch Scream 4, which is a terrible film anyway, but that's by the by. But we sat there, and you know when you, like, I have a sixth sense now. I know I can take a look at someone before going to the cinema and going, yep, he's going to be a problem. She's going to be a problem. They're going to get on my nerves.
You're like, let's just do this now, buddy. Save us both some time.
And I saw a group of 10 people walk in together, and now a group of 10 people have no business going to the cinema together.
No.
Go to a pub, go to a restaurant, because you don't want to be sitting in silence for an hour and a half. You guys are there to, you want to be actually hanging out together.
You've
Yeah.
And
never
a
been,
cinema is not a place to fucking
Have you
hang out.
Especially in a line.
Yeah.
have
Like,
you never been to cinema in a big group before?
No.
I went once
What's the point?
in a group of 8.
It's fun.
to see King Kong.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments, the few moments that I've actually been embarrassed of my friends because they were like so obnoxious and like just
Get 'em
talking the
out.
entire way through. And you know, you're just like, I actually don't want to watch this film with
exactly.
you. And so I went with another mate and just sat separately.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, I
Alfred
don't
probably
wanna be
gave you
part
guys a
of this.
dirty look.
Well,
You didn't even know him at the time.
So 10 people walked in, and I noticed them come up to me. And there was 8 seats one side of me, 2 seats the other, and they went, "Oh, do you mind moving up to?" And I was like, "Oh, like I'm a nerd. I know why I've sat here." And I was like, "Oh, we actually booked these seats, so I'm gonna sit here."
Actually, I think you'll find the acoustics hit right perfectly here and there.
we're all nerds, all right? This is what we deal with. But so the guy was like, "Oh, come on, do you mind moving?" And I was like, "Oh, no, like I'm really sorry." But like he was like, "Oh, we want to sit with our friends." I was like, "Well, it doesn't matter because as soon as the film comes on, you shouldn't be talking and stuff anyway." So. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. I was like, "I'm really sorry, man. We booked these seats. We got you early to get these seats." And he was like, "Okay, fine." So he sat down next to me. Then a couple sat next to me, and there was basically him, a bunch of girls, and then a guy and a girl next to my girlfriend. And like as soon as the film came on, like Courtney Cox comes on, and this dude next to me shouted, "Oh, it's Monica!" And
oh my god,
the girls next to him started going laughing, and I was like, right, we're fucked now because that guy has an audience, so he thinks he's like the funny guy of the group. He's going to be making jokes and stuff throughout this movie. So he starts like he's just saying stuff and stuff like that. So I said to him, I was like, "Oh, dude, can you shut up, please?" And he was like, just sort of looked at me, and I was like, "Okay, fine." And he didn't say anything. Then he got his phone out, and he's not even checking a message or anything like that. He's just scrolling through Facebook, and he's sitting right next to me. So I said, "Excuse me, man, can you put your phone away, please?" And he was like, "It's on silent." And I was like, "That's not the issue. Like, that's not an issue at all, is it?"
I love it.
He was like, "It's on silent." And I was like, "It doesn't matter." Like, and they were proper like a bunch of like skip rat, dull scum, like people from West London, scallies. And so I said to him, like, "Can you please put your phone away?" And he's like sort of like, did his put his phone away. Then he got his phone out again. So I was like, "Dude, you need to put your phone away, seriously." And he was like, "What's this guy's problem?" And I was like, "Don't talk to them, talk to me. Like, if you're gonna say something, like, why you bring him into it?
Don't pick a fight on Gav. Like, no.
So then I was like, "Dude, seriously, put your phone away." And he put his phone away, and then so it went on, and then he got his phone out again. So I just completely lost it. Grabbed his phone, chucked it, sort of knocked it out of his hand. It went onto the floor. He kneeled down to get it, and was just like, "Don't ever touch my phone! Don't ever touch my phone!" I was like, "I won't touch your phone if you stop being an arsehole with it."
Oh my god!
And he was like, he sat back down. His mate was like, "Mate, just calm down." And I was like, "I am calm. I'm just your friend's being a dick. He's got his phone on. If he gets his phone out again, I'm gonna smash it up." And he was like, so they both sat down. And I was like, "Do you know what? This is not worth it. I'm just gonna go." And he was like, and he goes, "Yeah, you better walk away." I was like, "What did you just say?" He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you after the film." And I was like, "Well, I'm going now. So if you want to do something, then let's go do it right now." He's like, "We're gonna get you after the film, man." And they both like sitting down, like refused to make eye contact with me. And I was like, "You're not gonna do anything." Like I said, I'm gonna walk out and get my money back for this screening. So I'm gonna be out there for 10 minutes max. If you want to do, we'll get you after the film, man. And I was like, "Yeah, will you guys?"
This is amazing.
I was like,
there's like tears in their eyes, and they're like, "We're gonna get you."
But that was like I think that was probably one of the last times I went to like a Cineworld or something like that.
Yeah.
When it hasn't been a press screening and it hasn't been free.
I was going to say
because people can't be trusted.
Well, this thing, I don't really go to the cinema that much anymore because I hate it.
Yeah, so
it's not a pleasant experience. So to go back to the question, it shouldn't come to that.
No.
It's a great idea because I was like, yeah, that's interesting. But no, don't come in my screening that I've paid money for.
It's like a public toilet. People should be trusted to just go to the toilet, but people poop everywhere. They poop everywhere.
It's
and
disgusting.
It's like, what are you doing?
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't think
you animals.
For me, that's not dealing with the issue. The issue is people being dicks.
Yeah.
And it's the same like this week, people, there's been the idea that there's going to be women-only carriages because, again, men can't be trusted to be in a carriage with a woman and not harass her. So it's like, as much as I want every female in the world to feel safe, which is bloody their right to be able to do so, that's, women-only carriages is not dealing with the problem. The problem is people harassing.
Why should women then be ostracised and put in these carriages? Like,
Anyway, so
have dickhead-only carriages where you just stick all the men. Like, sort out.
But yeah, no, I don't think you should have to have headphones in cinemas. But I am interested to hear what other people think about that, or if they've had particularly bad experiences in cinemas that'll really going to rile me up. So let us know those. IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
Brings us nicely on to Out This Week.
Oh, I hate this section. Devil's Third, shit. Dishonored Definitive Edition. If you've played Dishonored, you already know if you're going to like it or not. This Disney Infinity 3.0, it's got Star Wars in it, wicked. Gears of War Ultimate Edition, you know what that's going to be like. Until Dawn, we've already talked about. Boom.
Great.
Stuffing it.
How about films?
Hitman, the dude at the top of the show has already talked about it. We Are Your Friends. Actually, I kind of want to see because it's got Max who does Catfish, and I love Catfish
Me
Max.
too.
Oh, what, is he in it?
No, he directed it.
Oh.
But the film...
Zac Efron. Yeah.
The film looks terrible. I like Zac Efron. And Straight Outta
I'm talking to the
Compton
wrong fan club.
is
here,
the
man. I
story...
love Zac Efron.
Is the story about NWA, which has left out some of the more dubious things, like Dr. Dre beating up every woman he's ever seen.
Yeah, and then he was like, yeah, sorry about that. And it's like, that's kind of a half-assed apology. You're a billionaire, Dr. Dre. How about you
let him into the wrong carriage and it all went
well,
terribly
it's like
wrong.
he's a billionaire. Maybe donate some money towards like a women's refuge or something.
Or maybe stop hitting women.
Again, an option.
One step at a time here, folks. One step at a time.
Hey home.
But that's all the stuff that's out this week. That was IGN UK Podcast number 295.
We killed
Brilliant.
it.
I think we did
Lightning
well.
fast.
300 is coming up. We are putting all our eggs into the basket of organisation.
Yes, it is happening.
Hopefully next week we'll have like a date and a venue and stuff.
Yes, we are narrowing it down. We kind of know roughly when it's going to be, and we know it'll be in London somewhere.
Yeah.
But yes, we will hopefully have more information for you next week.
Yay.
So, including how you can get tickets if you want to come.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
See you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.